Hi, this is Carrie from the FSU Summer Music Camps, and I'm glad you've joined me today as I walk through how to do an online camp registration. Before we begin, it's important to note that the information you're going to be entering during the registration will be the camper's information, not the parent or guardian, unless specifically asked for that. So before you begin, you may want to gather together some pieces of information which you may not have readily available. This will include the camper's full name, the camper's social security number, their date of birth, gender, school they attended in 2011-2012, the grade they attended in 2011-2012, their date of birth, and the instrument that they're going to play at camp, or if they're coming to choral ensemble camp, their voice part. In addition to that, we're going to be asking for other general information, including mailing address, phone numbers, and email addresses where we can reach you. But once you've gathered together all of that information, and once you've selected the camp that you'd like to register for, this is how you would begin. We're currently on our summer camp homepage, and from here to register for camp, you can literally click on Register for Camp. You'll find information here about our deposit, payment, and refund policies, so certainly read through this information to make sure that you know when your camp balance is going to be due and any refund policy that would apply to you. And once you have read through that, go ahead and click on here to continue registering online. And again, you'll find some other general information here about registering online, so certainly read through this information. And once you're ready, you would come down to this section. At this point, camp registration is still closed, so you'll see our notes here that registration will open on January 2nd. Once registration is open, all of these camp names will be highlighted and clickable, and you'll be able to click on them and be taken to the online registration site. So today we're going to do a sample senior high band camp registration. So normally this will be highlighted. You can click on senior high band camp and you'd be taken to a web page that looks exactly like this. And this is where the registration actually begins. So first thing that we're going to do is enter in the basic information. So I'm going to do a sample of myself, my first name and my last name. And you'll see that here it asks for the Social Security number. This is required and used by the Florida State University system. If you have registered for camp in the past, we ask you, to use the same number that you've used in the past so we can match your numbers up and have your previous records available. If you have never registered before and you're uncomfortable using your Social Security number, or if this is for a child that does not have a Social Security number at this time, you can click here at the bottom of this page to have FSU generate a fake ID number for you. For those of you who are going to use our Social Security number, you can go ahead and enter it into these two boxes at this time to put it in and confirm it, and then click Next Step. But for those who would like to generate a random number, I'm going to walk you through those steps now. So you can click on the Click Here to learn more. You'll be taken to a page with a special notice. You want to go ahead and read this statement about participating in the Florida State University electronic system. And once you've read through, you can click on Agree, and it'll bring you to an identification system page. This time you can go ahead and enter in the first and last name of the camper, and then enter in the birth date. Once your birth date has been entered, go ahead and click on Assign My FSU Identification Number. And you'll see that a random number has been generated for you. Go ahead and write down this number and keep it with you so that you can use it for future registrations that you do with this system. And then go ahead and click on Continue with My Registration. Step 1B will continue the registration by providing us general information about how we can contact you going forward. As you'll see under personal information, the system has automatically put in the first and last name that you entered in the previous step. If that first and last name is not the name of the camper, then you will need to begin your registration again. The first and the last name that appears here should be the camper, not the parent or a guardian. So please be sure that is the camper's name appearing there. As long as that's the camper's name, then you can go on and select a username and password that will allow you to log into their account going forward. And you'll want to make sure you make note of that somewhere in your personal papers. So I'm going to go ahead and create myself a username and password here. And then we go on to the address information. This address should be a location where we can send you important camp correspondence. This includes all of the camp forms that we're going to send you that we need to have you fill out, as well as the camper handbook, which will provide all the information you need to know about camp before you arrive. So please be sure it's an address that you can receive mail at without any difficulty. So I'm going to go ahead and enter in an address here. And if you need an apartment line, go ahead and use address lines 2 and 3 for those information. And if you have a foreign address and need to include other foreign information, you can use the foreign address line. Then on to contact information. Again, this should be a daytime phone number where we can contact a parent or a guardian with any questions we might have about this registration. So you can go ahead and enter in your phone number there. And then an alternate evening phone number where we can reach you as well if we can't reach you during regular daytime hours. And I'm just going to use my office for that as well. And then email address should be an email address where we can reach a parent or guardian. We will be occasionally sending reminders, and the registrar's office will send invoices and financial statements via email as well. So the email you use here should be a parent or guardian email. Okay, and then you just click on Next Step. Step 2A will be asking some specific information about the camp that you're planning on attending. In this case, it's asking about senior high band camp, but all of our camps will ask similar information. So the first thing we've asked is for the parent or guardian's name. Please give us the parent's first and last name. And then the parent or guardian's email address. This should be the same email address that you just provided in the previous section. Under camper's current age, please give us their current age, not the age that they're going to be during the summertime, but the age they are at the time of registration. And then tell us what gender the student is and what instrument they're planning on playing at camp. If for some reason you do not see their instrument listed here, it's either because we have reached our maximum capacity for that instrument and have begun a wait list, or it could be that we don't offer instrument instruction for this particular camp on that instrument. So if you have any questions about the instruments that are or are not listed in this section, please call our offices and we'll be happy to help. Otherwise, go ahead and pick your instrument. Tell us what school the student attended during the 2011-2012 school year, and then what grade they are currently in the 2011-2012 school year. If the grade the student is currently attending during the 11-12 school year is not listed, then that means that grade level is not eligible to attend that particular camp. So please, if you have questions about grade eligibility, give us a call in our offices. Otherwise, go ahead and select the grade that the student is currently attending, and then enter in the camper's date of birth. Lastly, we've asked you to select your housing option. Choices are either to be an overnight camper staying with us at the Southgate Campus Center, or to be a day camper staying at home or with a relative over the age of 21. So you can make your selection here and then go ahead and click Next Step. Step 2B here is a summary of our charges for camp. This is not where you're going to be asked to pay. This is purely the place where we make sure all of the appropriate fees have been added to your account. So for senior high band camp, you'll see there's a deposit of $75, and next to it you'll see a quantity of 1, and that's going to be entered automatically because everyone does need to pay that. The early bird tuition has been applied here as well of $285. The early bird tuition is in effect automatically from January 1st to March 1st, so you don't need to do anything extra to receive the $50 early bird discount. It's already been applied. After March 1st, you'll see that this fee is increased by $50. And then lastly, you'll see the housing charge of $391. But you'll see that there's a 0 next to it, and that's because not everybody will select the housing option. So if you are going to be an overnight camper, you need to change that quantity to 1, and that will add the charge in. You'll need to come down here and click Update Subtotal, and you'll see that the charge for camp is summarized here. So $751 is the correct total for senior high band camp with the early bird discount. And discount code does not apply to us. Just go ahead and ignore this box. It does not apply to our camps. And the grand total for this camp for me would be $751. At this point, you can go ahead and register for camp if you are all set to do so. Once you click register, you'll be transferred to the university registrar system, which will generate a confirmation number, and we'll see that in a second. And here is our confirmation. It includes basic information, and obviously you will receive more specific information from the camps once we have your registration in our system. But you want to just go ahead and print this out for your records. It is your official confirmation. And then you would go ahead and click Next Step. And this will bring you into the payment options area. For the purposes of this demonstration, I'm going to select check by mail, but you'll see that your option is online payment, either checks or credit cards. We can do phone checks, online checks. Credit card by phone will provide you with a phone number where you can call to make your payment over the phone with one of our university cashiers. Check by mail, and third-party invoicing, which does not apply to this particular camp. So for this purpose of this demonstration, I'm going to choose check by mail and then next step. And then they're going to give me my instructions, an address where I can send my check to, and my reference numbers so that I have confirmation numbers in case of any difficulties in the future. And then that's it, and you just click finish. And you are done with your registration. And you will wind at this page regardless of whether you entered in credit card information or checks by mail. The important thing is that you make sure you log out on this page. Log out will make sure that if you're about to do a registration for a second camp or for another child, that the information from the first camp doesn't get automatically entered into that registration. So very important step, make sure you log out at the end of this registration and you'll be taken out of the system. And at this point, you can either return to our website and begin a new registration, or you can just close your web browser and you're all done. Thank you so much for joining me as I walk through how to do an online registration. And certainly if you have additional questions or any difficulties when you're registering for camp, please feel free to call our offices at 850-644-9934. Thanks so much, and we look forward to seeing you at camp.